Welcome back. My name is Pastor Justin Morris with the Pentecostal Evangelical Church. And in the beginning video there, you saw that we were using another Johnny Curtis video by the name, and that one is Never Give Up. And I thought it was just so fitting for Joshua today because the Lord never gave up on Joshua. And but before we go there, that song came off of Johnny's CD called 20 Years of Apache Gospel, and it was released in 1993. And I would encourage you to go on iTunes and listen to it, and maybe even buy a CD there. It's a good CD. I've got it, and I've really enjoyed the music since I found it again. So let's go right into our prayer requests. And if you got your sheet out, yesterday we were at 26,119 deaths from the coronavirus, and today we're at 31,015. However, there is a praise report. Okay, that seems like a lot, almost 5,000 deaths, but these people have been in the hospitals for a few weeks, and they have passed away since then. But the governor of several states, including New York, has stated that they've had a steep decline on hospitalizations from the coronavirus. And so we're going to see these numbers drop way down. We were at the crest of it, and now we're going way down the hill. And in fact, so much so that the governor in New York a few weeks ago was complaining he didn't have enough ventilators, and now he's actually giving them away to other states because they're not needing them. So that's a good thing, all right? So that's a praise report there. Let's be praying for our pastors bishops in Romania. They are pastoring over there and evangelizing to gypsy camps and children all over the world through via internet. But the problem is the kids in the gypsy camps do not have a computer, and they're not able to watch those. And because the virus is really bad there, they're not able to go face-to-face like they normally been able to. And their son, he's like 15 or 16, and he's actually licensed through our organization as an evangelist. And so he goes into those areas because he was adopted out of the gypsy camps. And he goes over in those areas and he ministers to those kids. And so, but since this has happened, they haven't been able to go. So let's be praying for them. Also, I want to continue to pray for our president. He has come under a lot of fire because of this coronavirus, and it's always by the media. And so let's just pray for peace for him and his spirit and his family and his entire team, okay? All right. If you'd like to email me and have fellowship back and forth, that'd be great. You can get a hold of me at morris.pec@gmail.com. And if you'd like to find out more about our church and what we offer and everything like that, you can go on to www.pec.today, and you can watch a few videos on there that have to do with how we started, back in 1936 and how far we've come since then. So, all right, never give up, never gave up, okay? The Lord never gave up on Josiah. And today, if you open your book to page 38, we're going to jump right into Josiah on our book of the 100. And get me a little drink of coffee here. I'm getting a nice cold coffee. All right. So Josiah comes from the Hebrew name pronounced Yoshio, meaning Yahweh supports. And he was born in 1648 BC, and in 2 Kings 22 verse 1, it states that he was 8 years old when he became king of Judah and reigned in Jerusalem. And he reigned there for 31 years. This is pretty amazing for a child to become king. And I decided to search it out and find out why so young. Well, it was obvious. His father had passed away, King Amnon, and that's how he ascended to the throne. And his mother was King Jedediah, and his grandfather was King Manasseh. Now, both his father and his grandfather were both evil in the sight of the Lord. And so, but Joshua, he was righteous in the sight of the Lord. And it states that in verse 2. Okay, let's read that. And he did what was right in the sight of the Lord and walked in all the ways of his father David. He did not turn aside to the right hand or to the left. Wait a minute, Pastor, you just said his father was Ammon. Yes, it was. There's no word in the Bible that I've ever found to state that there was a word by the name of grandfather, okay? And so it always talks about fathers in the past, okay? So as far back as they went was David, and David followed the Lord with all his heart, mind, and soul, all right? And I'll prove that here in a minute, but let's not get ahead of ourselves, okay? All right, and if you go to verses 3 through 7 and read that, you'll find out in his 18th year of reign, Josiah starts raising money to restore the temple. Well, while they're doing that, the high priest Hilkiah finds the book of the law, and he reads it. Then he gave it to Sharpenham, and he reads it, and then he reads it to King Josiah. Well, King Josiah freaks out. He rips his clothes, tears his clothes, and he's crying out to the Lord because he realizes they're not doing things he should do, okay? So if you jump down to verse 13, it says that go inquire of the Lord for me and the people and all Judah concerning the words of this book that has been found. For great is the wrath of the Lord that burns against us because of our fathers, in the plural, have not listened to the words of this book to do according to all that is written concerning us. Oh my heck, we've been doing things wrong all this time. No wonder things have gone the way they've gone. All right, so he goes into if you go into verse 15, it states that the Lord brings evil on this place because of idol worship. That's what was going on. Now we know in Exodus where it says, "Well, have no other gods before me." All right, so if you're worshiping something other than the Father, he doesn't like it, okay? Then Josiah restored the observance of the Passover according to chapter 23, verses 2 through 23. But the one I want to focus on right now is verse 3. Then the king stood by a pillar and made a covenant before the Lord to follow the Lord and to keep his commandments and his testimonies and his statutes with all his heart, all his soul, to perform the words of this covenant that were written in this book. And all the people took a stand for the covenant. Did you hear that? Everybody agreed to do this. Okay? This is awesome. Then Joshua calls for a national repentance because of all the idol worship. Then after that, they cleaned house. What did they do? They took out all the idols and the pagan worship objects and they destroyed them, according to verse 4. All right? We're going to jump to verse 25. We're going to jump ahead a little bit. Because all this he's done, the word says that there was no king like him who had turned to the Lord with all of his heart, and no one like him after that. Such a sad thing. He paved the way for the next king to come in and continue on to do what the Lord wanted him to do, and he just threw it all away. Okay, let's read verse 25. Now before him there was no king like him, who turned to the Lord with all his heart, all his soul, and all his might, according to all the law of Moses, nor after him did any arise like him. He paved the way. He cleaned out everything. He got everything ready to go to do in the sight of the Lord. He did the hard work, and nobody took it on after that. Well, let's jump ahead to where he dies. Okay, Josiah dies in a battle against the Egyptian pharaoh Necho at Medio, and he was buried in Jerusalem. Now there's a map here showing where he died, and they traveled all the way down to Jerusalem and buried him there. And then his son takes over as king. Now his son, I don't mention him in my book, but his son is Jehoahaz, and he becomes king, and he's only king for like 3 months before he's thrown into prison. Okay? He was an evil king in the sight of the Lord, according to verse 32. Verse 31 talks about he was king for 3 months, and that he was only 23 years old. But the thing is, he was a lot older than Josiah was when he became king. And so he should have known. He was raised up in the ways of the Lord. He should have carried that on. It was already paved. It was already done. There was no reason to go off half-cocked. So in verse 33, he gets thrown into prison by Pharaoh Necho. And then 34, Pharaoh Necho puts Josiah's other son, Elkanah, in charge and changes his name to Jehoiakim. And then the Pharaoh takes Jehoahaz, takes him to Egypt, and that's where he dies at. And so what's the bottom line here? Well, you do what the Lord tells you to do, and you're going to be blessed. If you don't, you're going to be removed. And the thing is when I became the president of the Pentecostal Evangelical Church, there was a lot of things already set in place, and all I did was improved on those things or updated those things. I didn't try to demolish it. There was a paid for almost 80 years, and I wanted to continue to carry that on, and I wanted to do what was good in the sight of the Lord. And so if I go from the right to the left, he's going to remove me and put somebody else here, like he should. Okay, so let's continue to all be blessed and use this time that we have to continue to serve the Lord and learn more about his word, because we're being forced to slow down. Okay. And I want to say a special blessing on all of you. In the name of the Lord, I pray. All right? Have a great day.